Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Brunei to hold delegation-level talks, sign agreements, will leave for Singapore on the second leg of his two-nation visit. Major government shake-up in Ukraine. 4 cabinet ministers and arms chief resign, while Poland activates aircraft to ensure airspace security after Russia launches strikes on Ukraine for the third time in 8 days. US files terrorism charges against 6 senior Hamas leaders, including the group's chief Yahya Sinwar, accused them of orchestrating the October 7th attack. And in sports, at 20, India achieves the highest ever medal haul in Paralympics. Para contingent displayed phenomenal performance on day 6. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Brunei, Darussalam, a Southeast Asian country, on a 2-day visit. Action-packed day 2 will witness him meeting Brunei's top leadership besides signing an exchange of MOUs. Here's what to expect from the final day of his visit to Brunei, Darussalam.
A day after inaugurating the new Chancery building of the Indian High Commission and visiting the iconic Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin Mosque, named after the father of the current monarch of Brunei, Darussalam, Sultan Haji Hassanal Bolkiah, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold talks with Sultan Haji on Wednesday. Prime Minister Modi will meet Sultan Haji Hassanal Bolkiah and his close family members at the Royal Palace, Istana Nurul Imam, which is the official residence of the Sultan of Brunei. Both sides will also hold delegation-level talks, engage in all existing areas of cooperation, and also explore avenues for cooperation in newer sectors. Both the leaders have met on a number of occasions. They first met on the sidelines of the 25th ASEAN Summit in Naypyidaw in November 2014, and then on the sidelines of the East Asia Summit in November 2017 in Manila. They met virtually in 2021 for the 18th India-ASEAN Summit. In January 2018, they met in New Delhi on the occasion of the Silver Jubilee of the ASEAN-India Dialogue Partnership. Sultan Haji was among the heads of state and government who witnessed India's Republic Day parade. The relationship between India and Brunei has steadily evolved, with defense cooperation being a key component. The exchange of naval visits and the participation of Bruneian nationals in various capacity-building courses in India underscore the growing defense and educational ties between the two countries. The trade relationship is important, especially in the context of India's energy security, given that a bulk of India's imports are of hydrocarbon from Brunei Darussalam, which is rich in oil and gas reserves. Both sides also cooperate in space and health sectors and promote people-to-people exchanges. The presence of a vibrant Indian diaspora in Brunei, particularly in the oil and gas industries, construction and healthcare sectors, further strengthens the bilateral relationship. Ties between the two countries are important even from a regional perspective. Brunei Darussalam was the country coordinator for India in ASEAN for 3 years, from July 2012 to June 2015, and played an important role in bringing India closer to ASEAN. All these aspects are expected to figure in the talks between the leadership of both countries on the final day. All in all, Prime Minister Modi's visit to Brunei has added dynamism to India-Brunei ties and is expected to reinforce India's strategic footprint in Southeast Asia, fostering greater cooperation in key areas and paving the way for a more integrated and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. With cameraman Kumar Datta, Munmun Bhattacharya's report, Brunei Darussalam, DD India.
All right, for more on this, we are joined in by Munmun Bhattacharya. Munmun, good morning. Now, there has to be a signing and exchange of agreements between the two sides today on the expected lines. As the Prime Minister said, the focus will be on further deepening India's ties with it. Get us more as to what all is lined up.
Right, Preeti, today is the day of diplomacy, of formal as well as informal talks of personal bonding between the leadership of both the countries, because in a short while from now, Prime Minister will be reaching the Royal Palace, that is the residence of the Sultan of Brunei Darussalam, Sultan Haji Hassanal Bolkiah. So there will be an audience with His Majesty and some close family members. After that, the Prime Minister will be hosted to a banquet lunch by His Majesty, and after that we expect MOUs to be signed and exchanged between both the sides, and that will mark the conclusion of the visit. So a lot can be expected in terms of substance today, because we expect a couple of MOUs to be signed. Some of the sectors that could take prominence are, for instance, the space sector, defense sector. So as far as space is concerned, in 2000, the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, had established telemetry, tracking, and command station here in Brunei Darussalam, and it helps India track and monitor the eastward movement of all its space-related launches. It could be satellite launches or launch vehicles, etc. So that's how Brunei Darussalam has been helping India. There was also an MOU sometime back in this regard. Now, all eyes would be on whether there would be an MOU to take this forward, if there could be some sort of a location shifting or technology upgradation. And so that is one area. And if we look at the defense sector, then we also would wait to see if there would be an announcement of establishment of a joint working group, because defense is one sector where both sides have been coming closer. The relationship is evolving over the years. In 2006, Indian naval ships started visiting Bruneian shores, and as recently as April-May 2024, there have been visits of Indian naval and coast guard ships to Bruneian shores. Here in 2016, an MOU was signed between both the sides. In 2021, it was renewed for 5 years. So defense is one sector, and there has been capacity building or training exercises. There's been joint exercises between both the sides. Defense personnel of both the countries have been visiting each other's defense colleges for physical and online courses, and also visiting their defense expositions and exhibitions. So defense is a core area of cooperation. Remains to be seen if on an institutional level there would be an announcement of a setting up of a joint working group. Now, having said that, as far as India's energy security is concerned, then Brunei Darussalam plays a very critical role here, because bulk of the imports from Brunei Darussalam to India are of hydrocarbons. I was looking at the figures, and in the last financial year, the overall bilateral trade between both the sides was around $290 million, $286 million to be specific. And $270 million out of that was only hydrocarbons. So India has been importing crude oil and natural gas from here, and India would want long-term supply contracts to be sealed between both the sides. Now, it remains to be seen if Brunei will give a nod in its favor or not, because India wants a long-term supplies of natural gas, particularly because it expects the demand for that to grow in the country. Also, as far as people-to-people contacts and connectivity is concerned, we already know that from the 5th of November, the direct flights will start between India and Brunei Darussalam. Right now, there is no direct flight. There used to be one to Kolkata from here, but that was suspended after 9/11. So the direct flight will start from the 5th of November. It will be thrice a week, and it will connect the capital of Brunei Darussalam to Chennai.
All right, Monmon. So that was about what all is expected when the two sides will hold talks and engagements today. Thank you so much for joining in with those details, Monmon. We'll come back to you again during the day. And also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Singapore on 4th of September as part of his two-nation tour. The ASEAN nation has been a traditional ally of India and the highest source of FDI in India. The fifth state visit by Prime Minister Modi is likely to strengthen the economic and cultural ties between the two countries. Akshay Dongre gets us more.
After his first ever state visit to Brunei, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Singapore on the 4th of September after a gap of 6 years. This is Prime Minister Modi's fifth visit to Singapore after he assumed office and has enthused the Indian diaspora across the East Asian country.
Our foreign policies are improved. That's what I can see, I can feel. People are, other people talking about our country. So I think a lot of positive things are happening. And I'm excited as PM is coming here. And surely all Indians will celebrate and will welcome him.
The visit to Singapore is significant as this is PM Modi's first visit after assuming a third historic term, along with Lawrence Wong assuming the charge of Prime Minister of Singapore this year in the month of May. The bilateral visit is likely to deepen relations between the two nations.
It's a very important and a historic visit. It's Prime Minister's 5th visit, as you rightly mentioned. Now, a visit very early on in his 3rd term is really, really historic because Prime Minister Lawrence Wong also has taken office in May, and a meeting between two prime ministers very early on in their respective tenures will set the course for our bilateral relationship in the next decade or so.
India and Singapore have been traditional allies with shared heritage, history and cultural ties, along with deep economic relations. The impetus given by the Modi government has significantly improved the bond between the two nations. Besides cultural ties, the visit by Prime Minister Modi will focus on futuristic cooperation in areas including digitalization, sustainability, skills, health, connectivity and advanced manufacturing. These include semiconductors and aviation technology. Taken all together, these are likely to give a boost to economic cooperation between the two nations.
Certainly, Singapore having a small percentage of Indian and Indian origin people, they make culturally much more share of the noise of Singapore because there's so much of activity that happens which draws a lot of people. And we talk about culture, it's not only classical arts, it is non-classical arts, even the Bollywood, even yoga, even Indian Ayurveda, and all forms of Indian culture. Food is a very big part of it.
Indian community is one of the largest and perhaps most important communities of Singapore that has left a permanent mark on the culture of the country. As you can see everywhere, there will always be something that reminds you of India, of Indian heritage that you will find in the country. And while there has always been close cultural and historic ties between the two countries, now amid the changing geopolitical scenario, there is an increasing closer strategic relation between the two countries as well. And to nurture and to strengthen this relationship, Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India is visiting Singapore, where the two countries will aim at significantly enhancing the close ties that the two countries share at this moment. With camera person SP Dubey in Singapore, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
All right, Akshay Dongre joins us from Singapore. Akshay, good morning. Now, we've seen this detailed report of yours wherein you've explored the expectations on Prime Minister's visit. Help us understand specific areas which would further strengthen the relationship between the two countries.
Well, like in the report, we are talking about connectivity, we are talking about healthcare sector, education, digitization, and one of the most important aspects, Preeti, is advanced manufacturing. Now it involves semiconductors, it involves aviation technology, and both of these aspects are the ones where Singapore excels. In fact, it is a global leader as well when it comes to semiconductor. Now that is going to be one of the key focus of Prime Minister when he arrives here in Singapore. That is going to be today. But before that, there are a lot of bilateral engagements that are also planned with the Prime Minister of Singapore, with the President of Singapore, and other business leaders as well. So while Singapore has been eyeing India, that is one of the largest markets in the world, it has a lot of potential, it has a lot of skilled labor force, it has a lot of advanced manufacturing capabilities now evolving as well. So that is going to be in the focus, that is going to be the expectation. So now if it happens, both India and Singapore come together, it is going to be a very good news for the Indian diaspora in particular, the Indian businesses that are booming here. And now from what we have seen, it's not just a small eateries or restaurants that are booming as far as the Indian culture here is concerned and the Indian businesses, but also there are large businesses too that have evolved into, from small businesses to now global iconic businesses that have started from Singapore. And this is something that the people of Indian origin here in Singapore take a lot of pride in as well, both the culture and the heritage of India that they are continuously spreading here. So it's a very it's a win-win situation for both the countries. Singapore and India have been great trade allies. In fact, Singapore is India's one of the largest trade ally, the largest in fact source of foreign direct investment as far as last financial year is concerned. So there is a lot of expectation as far as the Indian diaspora as well as the Singaporean government from this visit that is going to take place today by the Prime Minister Modi today evening.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it here. Thank you for joining in with those details. The Ontario Municipal Employees Retirement System, or the OMERS, through its investment teams, has significant investments in Asia. Investors and business officials have gathered in Singapore ahead of Prime Minister Modi's visit. Our correspondent Akshay Dongre spoke to Ashish Goel, the Executive Vice President of Omer's. Let's listen in.
Ahead of the arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Singapore, there is not only an excitement among the Indian diaspora, but also among the investors and business officials here that are working in Singapore. In fact, we are right now at the office of Omer's, a large pension fund based out of Canada, and we have the Executive Vice President of Omer's, Mr. Ashish Goel, here with us. Sir, we are seeing a lot of excitement as far as Prime Minister's arrival is concerned. So how is the business community looking at it?
I think there's a lot of excitement over the last many years now. There's been a very good communication between the two sides, government to government, business leaders to business leaders. So the Indian diaspora here is obviously large. There are very meaningful relationships, positive relationship between the two countries. And I think there's a lot of excitement around what comes next.
Sir, as far as India and Singapore are concerned, they are huge trade partners. In fact, Singapore is the largest source of foreign direct investment into India, as far as last year is concerned. So where do you see the potential lies right now? In what fields can India and Singapore further collaborate?
So Singapore obviously in the last 40, 50 years has gone from third world to first. And there are a number of industries where Singapore is a world leader. A few of them, I think, have been discussed in the recent meetings. One is advanced manufacturing. So for a number of historical reasons, Singapore has a very large and well-developed semiconductor manufacturing setup. So there are a lot of skills that can be transported to India. There are a lot of opportunities for collaboration. Singapore is limited by just its sheer size and its the size of its labor force. So, having a partnership in India which gives Singapore a sort of a large hinterland to do bigger things at a bigger scale in partnership with Indian companies, that opportunity is clearly there, and I think India should take full advantage of that, absorb those skills and so on.
What is the outlook that has changed, and what has been the impact of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's policies, pro-trade policies, as far as India's outlook is concerned?
I think what has been quite remarkable is the policy stability and direction that we have seen in the last 10 years. There is a clarity of purpose, and policy is designed in line with that purpose, and it's been stable. And as long as we have that stability, that predictability, global capital is going to feel more comfortable about coming to India. So Make in India will be an important part of that. We need to see more of the same policy continuity. There are a number of areas that this government has been working on. As we see those measures come through, I think international investors are going to continue to feel more comfortable investing in India.
That was Mr. Ashish Goel, the Executive Vice President of Omer's. And as far as the business leaders are concerned, clearly you can see that there is a very good outlook as far as India's performance in the past 10 years is concerned, especially for the businesses across the world. With camera person SP Dubey, I'm Akshay Dongre, DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Amid the conflict, there were few high-profile resignations in Ukraine, including country's arms chief and deputy chief of staff. Its deputy prime minister has also resigned in a major government shake-up at a critical juncture in the conflict with Russia. Resignations are dubbed as part of the restructuring of the government, while minister in charge of weapons production resigned on Tuesday in anticipation of another defense role. The resignation of Strategic Industries Minister Alexander Kamishin, Deputy Prime Minister Olha Stefanishina, and Justice, Environment and Reintegration Ministers left over a third of the cabinet vacant after sackings earlier this year. President Volodymyr Zelensky dismissed his Deputy Chief of Staff, Rostislav Shurma. Also, Parliament Speaker Ruslan Stefanchuk said after weeks of talks over a looming government shakeup, lawmakers would review resignation requests. Ukraine's President Zelensky said that the changes were being undertaken to ensure Ukraine had the strengthened government it needed.
Autumn will be extremely important for Ukraine. Our state institutions must be organized in a way that ensures Ukraine achieves all the results we need, all of us. To this end, we must strengthen certain areas within the government, and the personal decisions have been prepared. There will also be changes in the office. I also anticipate a different emphasis on certain areas of our foreign and domestic policy.
At least 51 people were killed and 271 were injured in a Russian strike in Ukraine's central town of Poltava. Also, the Ukrainian city was hit by 2 ballistic missiles on Tuesday, the conflict's deadliest single attack this year. Poltava regional governor said that the 1 military personnel was killed in the attack, while 15 people were still feared trapped under the rubble. Fighting has intensified over the past month, with Russian forces advancing in eastern Ukraine, while Kyiv's troops have mounted their first large-scale cross-border assault into Russia. Moscow has vowed to retaliate for the incursion into the Kursk region. Ukrainian President Zelensky repeated calls for more Western air defenses and urged allies to allow their long-range weapons to be used for strikes deeper into the Russian territory. Meanwhile, Polish and Allied aircraft were activated early on Wednesday for the third time in 8 days to ensure the safety of Polish airspace after Russia launched airstrikes on Ukraine. This comes after Russia launched a missile attack on Ukrainian capital Kyiv and a drone attack on western city of Lviv, which is not far from the border with NATO member Poland. Several blasts were heard on the outskirts of Kyiv in what sounded like air defense systems in operation. The whole of Ukraine was under air raid alerts. Ukraine's Air Force said that air defense units were engaged in repelling the attacks. UN Nuclear Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi met Ukrainian President Zelensky on Tuesday and discussed the state of affairs at the Kursk nuclear plant in Russia, which Ukrainian troops are close to. Grossi is due to visit the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southeast Ukraine on Wednesday, saying the situation there was very fragile and the risk of a disaster remained. Grossi, who visited Russia's Kursk plant last week, also said that the situation there and at Zaporizhzhia were different.
I think the situation I have very often characterized it as very fragile. With for some days we have some stability, and then the next day there is an event, an issue, a drone impact, or like today we had one of the 2 existing power lines down, which means that the station is again on the verge of being on a blackout. We had 8 of those in the past, as you know. So I would tend to agree when we say that the situation is very serious indeed.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is back home from Mongolia to attend Russia's Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok. The 9th Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok is set to open on Wednesday. The 2-day forum is being organized under the motto Far East 2020, combining strengths to create new potential. In his greeting to the event's participants, Putin said over the previous years, the forum has contributed significantly to the development of constructive economic ties between Russia and other countries of Asia-Pacific region. He added that Russia is open for dialogue with all regional partners on the basis of genuine equality, with no place to dictate strong armed tactics or sanctions pressure. Amit Mukherjee is joining us from Delhi. Amit, we will be seeing the 2-day 9th Eastern Economic Forum will be beginning today. Help us understand how important is this forum on the global page, because the Russian president has talked of sanctions, he's talked of other important issues. One, and also very quickly, let us understand India's participation also at the forum.
See, Preeti, first of all, you have to understand that this particular economic forum is coming on the backdrop of the fact that Russia is facing a lot of economic sanctions from the West. Now, if you look at the entire country of Russia, it spreads across the Asian continent. On the western side, you have the European countries, and on the eastern side, it has access, obviously, to the rest of the Asian countries. Now, amidst diminished and contracted trade and economic activities with the Western world, Russia is obviously focusing to expand its activities, trade and commerce activities with the Asian countries. In fact, the ones which have stood neutral or are in favor of Russia and have not taken a stand along with the Western countries which have decided to boycott Russia. So it is very, very important as far as Russia is concerned, to firm up the trade and commerce relationships going down further. And also, in fact, a lot of countries, in fact, 40 countries are also participating in this Eastern Economic Forum, which is happening in Vladivostok beginning today. And we will see a lot of participation from countries like China, from Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, and of course, India. Now, as far as India is concerned, this will again be a very, very important and significant event as far as its international trade relations are concerned. Because India, if you look at, Prime Minister Modi had visited Russia in July, and this particular forum would actually help India and Russia to take commitments and pacts which were signed and made during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Russia and the various discussions he had held with President Putin. So one of the important aspects of this forum would be India's maritime relationship, trade relationship with Russia. In fact, they are trying to develop the Vladivostok and Chennai sea route, maritime route, with a lot of pit stops along Thailand and Vietnam. This will definitely enhance the economic relations, not only between Russia and India, but it will also help the two countries improve trade relations with the other Asian partners. Also, India and Russia during Prime Minister Modi's visit had signed an agreement to look at jointly developing the shipping sector. In fact, joint shipbuilding is also one of the aspects. India is also looking at developing a transit maritime hub along the Bay of Bengal. So that is one area where Russia will also be collaborating with India and strengthen the maritime trade activities further. Preeti?
All right, Amit, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. All right, let's turn focus to Israel-Hamas crisis now. The U.S. has announced criminal charges on the terrorist group Hamas on Tuesday. Israel's ally U.S. announced the charges against Hamas's top leaders over their roles in planning, supporting and perpetrating the deadly October 7th attack in southern Israel that killed 1,200 people, including more than 40 Americans. The complaint names 6 defendants, 3 of whom are deceased. The living defendants are Yahya Sinwar, who was believed to be hiding in Gaza, Khaled Meshal, who is based in Doha and heads the group's diaspora office, and Ali Baraka, a senior Hamas official based in Lebanon. Former Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, who the group says was assassinated in July in Tehran, military wing chief Mohammad Deif, who Israel says is killed in a July airstrike, and Marwan Issa, a deputy military commander who Israel said it killed in a March strike. U.S. prosecutors brought charges against the 6 men in February and kept the complaint under seal, but decided to go public with the charges after Haniyeh's death. Meanwhile, protests continue on the 3rd consecutive night in Tel Aviv, demanding ceasefire that would include a deal to return Hamas hostages. The protests, sparked by the recovery of 6 bodies of the captives in Gaza over the weekend, also witnessed general strike by Israel's largest trade union on Monday. Authorities earlier informed that all the 6 hostages were killed within 48 to 72 hours before their recovery. International pressure is escalating for a ceasefire deal, even as mediation efforts are yet to produce a deal between Israel and Hamas. Terming it as the need of the hour, the U.S. has said that it is working day and night to get an agreement.
We are working day and night to try to get an agreement over the line, because we believe an agreement is manifestly in the interests of all the parties involved. We are going to continue to try and get an agreement over the line. We're going to work to put a proposal together with Egypt and with Qatar that we believe both parties should accept, and I will leave it at that for now.
You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, stay with us as we get you more on Prime Minister Modi's second day in Brunei, the engagements between the two leaders and the two sides to begin shortly. IMD issues red alert in Gujarat with Saurashtra and Kutch set to receive very to very heavy rainfall till September 7th.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. In Nigeria's northeastern Yobe state, at least 81 people have died and several are missing after an attack by suspected Boko Haram Islamists. Residents said the death toll could be even higher, with villagers still missing and feared dead after fighters chased them into the bush. The attack took place on Sunday afternoon in Yobe, one of 3 states at the front line of an insurgency that had lasted for 15 years now. Thousands of Nigerians have been killed and more than 2 million have been displaced. Yobe police spokesperson said that the attack in Yobe's Mafa village was apparent retaliation for the killing of suspected Boko Haram fighters by the local vigilance. A boat carrying dozens of migrants capsized in the English Channel off the coast of northern France. At least 12 migrants died and 2 people still are missing after the boat capsized. French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin said that rescue operations were underway to find people still missing. Darmanin added that the victims were mainly from Africa, with many from Eritrea. Tackling illegal immigration has been a priority for both the British and French governments. More than 2,000 people have arrived in Britain on small boats over the past 7 days, according to the UK government figures. Last week, French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer pledged to work closer together to dismantle migrant smuggling routes. Former U.S. President Donald Trump said in a court filing on Tuesday that he would plead not guilty to criminal charges in a revised indictment accusing him of attempting to overturn his 2020 election defeat. Trump, the Republican candidate in the presidential election, waived his right to appear in court and instead authorized his lawyers to enter the plea. The revised indictment, obtained last week by Special Counsel Jack Smith, includes the same 4 charges prosecutors brought against Trump last year. He was accused of attempting to defraud the United States, obstruct congressional certification of the election, and deprive voters of their right to a fair vote.
If I don't get immunity, then crooked Joe Biden doesn't get immunity, and all of the things he's done to allow the border invasion, millions and millions of people coming into our country, many from prisons, jails, mental institutions, insane asylums, many terrorists coming into our country. That's really allowing insurrection. When they talk about threat to democracy, that's your real threat to democracy. And I feel that as a president, you have to have immunity. Very simple.
Former Venezuelan presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez has not sought political asylum in any embassy in Venezuela, despite an arrest warrant against him. Gonzalez's lawyer confirmed that Gonzalez is not at his residence in order to preserve his guarantees of freedom, physical integrity and life. The Venezuelan Attorney General's office announced on Monday that an arrest warrant was issued against Gonzalez, accusing the former presidential candidate of conspiracy and other crimes. The arrest warrant against Gonzalez came after the government summoned the opposition candidate to testify as part of an investigation into the opposition's claim of victory. The arrest warrant has triggered widespread international condemnation across the Americas, with countries including the United States, Argentina, Brazil, Canada and Peru expressing their disapproval. Sri Lanka is gearing up for the first phase of voting in the 2024 presidential election, with over 700,000 state sector employees to cast their postal ballots on Wednesday. With 38 candidates in the fray, the front-runners would be hoping to get a head start for the elections scheduled for September 21st, with commencement of postal voting. The Election Commission in Sri Lanka has announced that the postal voting will be conducted on 4th, 5th and 6th of September, and the employees who are unable to cast their votes by post on those dates will be able to vote at district secretariat offices on September 11th and 12th. The Indian Meteorological Department has forecast extremely heavy to very heavy rainfall over Gujarat state till September 7th. The state has been given a red alert, with Saurashtra and Kutch set to receive very heavy rainfall. The state had seen extremely heavy rains last week, which caused widespread flooding. Several rivers and reservoirs are overflowing as water levels have crossed the danger mark. Rains in southern Gujarat in the last 2 days have affected more than 30,000 people. Rescue and relief operations are underway. Parth Pandya joins us from Ahmedabad to get us more on the current situation there. Parth, good morning. Now, we've told our viewers that the red alert has been sounded in parts of Gujarat, with Saurashtra and Kutch expected to receive heavy rainfall. You're there in Ahmedabad. Get us more as to how has the day begun.
Yes, Priti, good morning. It was a 2-day break, that is of Saturday and Sunday, when there was no rainfall in the state. But after that, since Monday early morning till today, it has been totally raining all over the Gujarat, especially in the southern Gujarat region and the Saurashtra region, because a new cyclonic circulation has been developed over Porbandar, and that is the Saurashtra region. So yes, since last 2 days, it was very heavy rain, especially if we talk about southern Gujarat, Bharuch, Surat, Tapi, Narmada, Dang. It was almost 20-25 inches of rain in last 24 hours of Bharuch only. So things was very much affected due to this rain. Almost 30,000 plus people has been affected due to the flooding-like situation in the southern Gujarat region. If we talk about the northern Gujarat region also, it was a bit rain deficit this year. It was about 88% till Sunday. But today it has crossed almost 95% of the cumulative average rainfall of the year. So the total Gujarat region is getting a lot of rain. Still also till 7th to 8th September, IMD has issued a heavy rainwater coming in these regions. Prediction has been given. Today also orange alert has been issued for the Surat, Tapi, Dang, Navsari and Valsad region, and in some parts of the Saurashtra and in Banaskantha, that is the northern Gujarat region. So things are, things was getting normal. In Vadodara, we all know how the situation was since last week. Things was getting normal, but another cyclonic circulation developed, and another round of the rainfall has started since Monday. So it is the third day. In upcoming 3 also days, that is till Sunday, it has been predicted by IMD that heavy rainfall will be received. Moreover, one more important thing, almost all the reservoirs of the Gujarat has been filled up to 90-95%, especially the Kadana Dam of the nearby Mahisagar is overflowing. So almost 130 villages of Mahisagar is on high alert situation. The local administration as well as SEOC of Gujarat is overlooking about all this situation. Heavy meetings are going on day by day, and things are getting critical. And if this rain persists, things will be critical, especially in the central Gujarat region, in southern Gujarat and in Saurashtra, because right now I'm standing in Ahmedabad, that is the central Gujarat region. Ahmedabad is also receiving rain since last 3 days. Yesterday night only, it was almost rainy the whole night. So things are getting critical day by day. Let's see what happens in the upcoming days, as IMD has issued red alert since till 7th of September.
All right, Parth, thank you so much for joining in with those details. And be it defense or agriculture, India is using drone power in multiple fields, and new use cases are being added each passing day. Now, drones have also entered the quick commerce domain and are proving to be faster as well as more efficient, cost-effective and sustainable than the surface transport solutions. Gautam Roy gets us more from India's Millennium City, Gurugram.
Quick commerce just got quicker. In this and over 70 other high-rise societies in India's Millennium City, Gurugram. Drone deliveries are being made within minutes from merchants and dark stores to residents by one of India's drone startups, which has multiple logistical offerings for its clients. Its founder says that they have big plans for expansion nationwide, as drones are the future of logistics and transport. They are not only faster, but also more efficient, cost-effective and sustainable.
Going the vertical way, utilizing drones saves a lot of distance, saves a lot of cost, and it does also ensures that the speed is there into the whole picture, which on a primary level it solves and ensures that we are able to deliver. Let's take an example that if a shipment is getting delivered in about an hour, we are able to deliver that shipment in 6 to 8 minutes.
For the time being, the carrying capacity or payload capacity of logistics drones like these is only 5 to 6 kgs, and they can only be flown till about sundown due to regulatory restrictions. But the possibilities are limitless. Residents of the society where Sky Air has set up its pod for dropping off deliveries, which are then taken to their doorstep, are appreciative of the service.
It's started in our society, Fresco, and it's very good, timely delivered, and quite impressive, and very fast.
There are a lot of places in Gurgaon which might not be covered by surface logistics. People take very long time to reach to certain places which are the places which are outskirts of the Gurgaon. So this thing can be overcome by the deliveries of drones.
Apart from deliveries, drones are also being used in India's cities and rural settings, ranging from policing and surveillance to crop monitoring and spraying. It has applications in multiple fields, ranging from defense to construction and mining. The Indian government's drone policy has given a lift to this fledgling sector, which is fast spreading its wings to fly higher. Gautam Roy, DD India.
And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. India's West Bengal Health Department on Tuesday suspended Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, the former principal of Haji Medical College and Hospital. The suspension followed his arrest in connection with alleged financial irregularities at the institution. Ghosh and 3 others were remanded to CBI custody till 10th of September. India's Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu visited the flood-affected areas and reviewed the supply of food and water for the victims. Andhra Pradesh is likely to experience another wet spell as a fresh low pressure is predicted from the Bay of Bengal by September 5th. Weather officials have predicted thunderstorms and strong winds in various districts of the state. Indian Army Black Charger Brigade carried out the tactical flotation exercises, validating operational parameters and refining battle drills, tactics, techniques and procedures. The soldiers, including Agniveers, displayed exceptional skills during the training. The exercise aimed at validating operational parameters and refining battle tactics. In India's Ladakh, the Animal Husbandry Department, Kargil, conducted an extensive awareness camp in Handarman Block, the first village on LOC in the region. This aims to educate locals in advanced livestock and poultry management practices. The camp is part of the ongoing efforts by Animal Husbandry Department to improve livestock productivity and ensure economic well-being of Kargil's farming communities. A quick break ahead, but after the break, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a telephonic conversation with the para medal winners. Tim Burton receives the 2,788th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Zero Waste Workshop in Taipei recycles plastic into trendy sunglasses, giving it new life. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now we get to updates from Paralympics. The Indian para contingent displayed a phenomenal performance on day 6 at Paris Paralympics, taking India to its best ever medal haul of 20, with 4 days still remaining for the games to end. Indian para sprinter Deepti Jivanji bagged the 16th medal for India on day 6 as she won a bronze medal in the women's 400 meters T20 final. The para athlete finished the race in 55.82 seconds. Para athlete Ajit Singh bagged silver medal with a personal best throw of 65.62 meters in men's javelin throw F46 final on Tuesday, while Sundar Singh Gurjar bagged a bronze medal with seasonal best throw of 64.96 in the same category. With this win, India achieved its first double podium finish in athletics in Paris Paralympics. And just a while later on the same day, India achieved its second podium finish in athletics at Paris Paralympics. In men's high jump T63 final, Sharad Kumar secured a silver medal with the best jump of 1.88 meters, setting a new Paralympic record in the T42 category. Mariyappan Thangavelu bagged a bronze medal with a best jump of 1.85 meters. All right, Deepika Mathur joins us from Delhi. Deepika, good morning. We've just given, a broad outline of the events where Indians shone yesterday at Paralympics. Still 4 days for the games to end. Get us more as to what all are the sporting, streams where India will be performing.
Good morning, Preeti. First of all, many congratulations to the entire nation, because this is happening for the first time in the country and for the country that Paralympics has achieved a 20 medal mark, and still we are 4 days. 4 days are still left to create more number of records, to earn more number of medals for Team India. If we talk about the last night only, in the last 8 hours, India have secured 4 medals in athletics, 3 in javelin throw itself, which means a gold, a silver and a bronze from javelin throw itself. If you would remember, we opened India's medal tally at this Paralympics with a gold in parachuting, and that too by a women, which is Avani Lekra. Talking about the overall performance of India at the Paralympics, it is going stupendously well. In the last Tokyo Paralympics, India earned 19 medals, and this time we've crossed that medal mark also. However, many of the stakeholders say that India would be able to achieve a 25-digit figure this time at the ongoing Paralympics. The kind of records that we are seeing right now in javelin throw itself, we've got 3 medals, which is happening for the very first time, and in high jump also we've secured 2 medals in the last 8 hours. In parachuting also we've secured all the colors of the medals. And today, if we talk about particularly, we've got para archery, we've got para cycling, we've got other events, para athletics also, which will be in fray, and many players would be vouching for glory. We are still 4 days just away from the closing ceremony of Paralympics. We've already touched the 20 medal mark. Let's see if we would be able to make it to 25 or not. But so far, India is doing brilliantly, and we've seen continuous wishes also from many ministers, be it the Prime Minister, be it the President of India. And yesterday we interacted with Suhas Yathiraj and para badminton coach, because badminton is done with this edition of Paralympics, and India has secured 5 number of total medals in para badminton also. They've also surpassed their previous mark, because last time in Tokyo Paralympics they got 4 Paralympics medal in badminton, and this time they've secured 5 medals, and they are looking forward to better it in the next edition. But overall, India is creating many records at this particular edition of Paralympics. Preeti.
All right, let's hope this performance continues for the next 4 days as well. Thank you, Deepika, for joining in with those details. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a telephonic conversation with Paralympic Games medal winners Yogesh Kathunia, Sumit Antil, Sheetal Devi and Rakesh Kumar. He congratulated them on their victory, calling it a remarkable feat. Let's listen in.
सर, इस बार का अनुभव बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा रहा था, और जो कमियां यहाँ पर रह गई है वो आगे कंप्लीट करनी है, उसको मतलब पूरा लेके चलूँगा, और जितनी भी जो गलतियाँ यहाँ पर करी है वो आगे नहीं दोहराऊँगा।
बड़ी उम्र में आपको चैलेंजेस आई, लेकिन आपने उन चैलेंजेस को सचमुच में बहुत हिम्मत के साथ आपने एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जाम्पल सेट किया है जी। आपको और शीतल को बहुत बहुत बधाई, आपने अद्भुत किया, और शीतल की तो पूरे हिंदुस्तान में और दुनिया में बड़ी वाहवाही चल रही है। आपने देश का गौरव बढ़ाया है।
हाँ जी सर बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है मुझे।
तो लोगों से मिलना हो रहा है, बात हो रही है।
हाँ जी सर, हो रही है। बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है सर, मैंने मेडल जीता अपने देश के लिए, तो बहुत खुश हूँ मैं।
गोल्ड मेडल जीता है सर, और
तो आपको बधाई, जितनी बधाई दूँ उतनी कम है।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद
आपने
सर।
तो टोक्यो के बाद पेरिस लगातार और अपने ही रिकॉर्ड तोड़ रहे हो आप तो।
सर आशीर्वाद है सर, और कंट्री का, पूरी कंट्री का, जिस तरह से देशवासी सभी सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं।
सुमित, मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत बधाई है।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर।
आप सबको, योगेश, सुमित, शीतल, राकेश, आप चारों को आज मैं बात कर पा रहा हूँ। कई खिलाड़ियों से भी बात नहीं कर पाया हूँ,
जी जी।
लेकिन मैं कोशिश जारी रखता हूँ जहाँ से, क्योंकि मेरी विदेश की यात्रा भी चल रही है, लेकिन वहीं से भी मैं समय निकाल करके बात करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ।
जी सर पता लगा सर, हमें निशाद भी है सर हमारे साथ में।
बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर।
बाकी हमारे सारे जो साथी हैं, कोची है, अन्य खिलाड़ी हैं, सबको मेरी तरफ से बधाई देना भैया।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर आपका।
All right, now we take a look at medal tally at Paris Paralympics so far. China is leading the medal tally with 53 golds, 40 silver medals and 22 bronze medals. It is followed by Great Britain with 30 gold medals, 18 silvers and 16 bronze medals, while the US is at the third position with 20 gold medals, 22 silvers and 11 bronze medals. Also, India is at the 19th position with 3 golds, 7 silvers and 10 bronze medals. Let's get you some entertainment-related stories from across the world now. Hollywood director Tim Burton received the 2,788th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on Tuesday. The quirky filmmaker with a signature aesthetic unveiled the star outside Hollywood Toys and Costume Store, one of the go-to stores for Halloween in Hollywood. Burton said on stage before the unveiling that he almost started crying when he found about it. Also, the ceremony were two of Burton's most used stars, Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton.
When I found out it was here, I just almost started crying because I've been coming here ever since I was a little child, and the store hasn't changed at all. And so for me, it's such an honor to have a star, but also to have it right here in front of this incredible shop, museum, toy shop, everything. So I used to spend my life here. So thank you so much, and thank everybody, all my friends and beautiful people coming to see me. So very emotional for me, and thank you very, very much.
And Hollywood actor Caleb Landry Jones' latest film, Harvest, premiered in Venice on Tuesday. The movie, which is the English language debut of Greek director Athina Rachel Zangari, is on the adaptation of Jim Crace's acclaimed novel, Harvest. It tells the story of an unnamed village that disappears over 7 hallucinatory days in a time and place left undefined. The film follows the journey of 2 childhood friends as they confront an invasion from the outside world, representing the trauma of modernity. And finally, bottle caps, food packaging, utensils and scrapped toys are just some of the plastic items that have been given a new lease of life in a zero-waste workshop in Taipei. Customers gain hands-on experience in recycling process, including scrapping plastic waste that they brought from home, melting and molding it into a pair of trendy sunglasses within 2 hours. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes on your screens. We'll be back with more news as it breaks out on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.